Hello and welcome to part 2.5. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Basically, what I wanted to do before I got into the last of my collection that is stored away in boxes that is not out, I wanted to go over what I actually have done with some of my other DVDs prior, a few years back, whenever I was getting to a point where I actually had too many DVDs, but I still wanted to collect DVDs. I had DVDs that I preferred more than others. Now, I actually received a lot of love on the other video. I'm really grateful for that. I've had a few comments, and one of those comments actually asked me, do you ever declutter DVDs to make room for new ones? That is a great question, and it's great that you asked that because I was actually going to make this video anyways, and I have the solution for you, or at least for some people. This isn't going to work for everyone. And here it is. Ta-da! So basically, I know what you're thinking. What the hell is that? Let me see. What the hell is this? This is basically how I store, or used to store, I haven't touched this in a while, the DVDs and Blu-rays that I just felt like I wanted in my collection, but it was very unlikely that I was ever going to look at. So this is what I did. It is basically a folder, a big, thick folder of DVDs. I absolutely hate the DVD things where it's like, it's just the discs. I feel like that really just takes away from like the whole, idea of like, oh, well, you're supposed to have, you're supposed to keep the covers, the discs. I feel like I should keep the covers, basically. And this was the way I solved that. Now, this isn't a cheap solution. As a matter of fact, I think this is quite expensive. And I think majority of the people that did this, or that do this, you'd end up paying quite a bit of money because I got this on Amazon. I'm actually blabbering away. I need to stop and get right to the point. So basically, point is, let me show you. Oh my god, look at this. This is all this is going to be a quick video because there isn't as much to go through. But basically it's a folder with sleeves specifically designed for covers of DVDs and Blu-rays. So they're exactly matched to the size, and the folder is also small enough for it. And I don't know if I actually have any Blu-rays in here. I think I don't have enough Blu-rays. I don't buy enough Blu-rays that I wouldn't care about, but DVDs, because they're so cheap, it's kind of like a different story. So basically, I want to go through them, talk a bit about why I put these in storage, and how it is a thing that you can do. It's just not very cost efficient, and I think, if you don't have money like to store your DVDs anywhere, or, to be honest, it is more about decluttering, isn't it? So for example, if you did watch my other videos, I do have Batman Returns on Blu-ray already in a compilation of films. Before we get on to actually should explain, all these stickers were just things that I put on them from Criterion's, because Criterion's actually give you these stickers, and I thought they were cool. So yeah, the sticker is here randomly. I think it just one stick, so I put it in it. But basically, you have a sleeve, and I think I have 100 of these sleeves because I ordered it. And then when you open inside, I do have the disc in here as well. Ta-da! And I find that this is the best way to be efficient because this has like quite a few, as you can see, DVDs in here. So I think this is a great way to declutter because you can keep a bunch of these folders, in your shelf, and it will only take up about the room of like 5 DVDs, I think, max, even less. So, if you look at like the thickness, this is like what, 3 maybe even. So really, this is great. But I think these have gone more expensive. I'm not too sure. I know that there's different ways to store them. Like there's like little sections. But the most important thing for me when I keep DVDs or I keep anything is that I keep the cover with it because, it's a poster. It's part of the film. I don't just want the disc there. I want the whole thing. So first we got Batman Returns, which I just said. We already have that, so I felt like putting this away made sense. Next we got Milena. I got Milena again on Blu-ray because I wanted it in higher quality. so I put the disc away. Funny enough, I'm looking here, and that's actually one of those holographic like stickers for Disney. Let me just be clear, this was never Disney produced. At least I don't think so. Then we got Black Swan. I don't know why I put Black Swan in here, because I did write a cinematography essay in university. And, you know, I think I just thought, oh, this isn't one of those films that I'm going to go back to often. Next we got District 9. So District 9 is basically, I already got this on Blu-ray, so I had it on DVD before. Next we have School of Rock. Again, it's not a film. It's a great film. It's not a film I would return to too often, so it's just there. And, you know, if I want it, it's there. Although the problem with this is that you can't spine DVDs, so a lot of the time I forget these are even here. You actually have to. I have to actually like make a really good memorable note for myself, or like make an effort to remember, or go through this before I buy DVDs, because I have purchased stuff, or at least I forgot that I had stuff in here. So I got Grease, but I showed you the special edition of Grease that I have with the jacket, so that's why the other one made it here. Again, it happened one night. I got it on Criterion when I saw that there was a Criterion edition, so I put the DVD away. Cheaper by dozen. Again, it's an alright film. It's on Disney Plus now, and I have Disney Plus, and I rewatched this actually recently. It's in here. Another great one is Persona, but again, I have the Criterion one, so it's just in here. It's the Tartan edition of it. It's cool. There's multiple discs in here. I think there's more than one. Saw. I think I got this from Poundland. I'm not a big, like, massive fan of Saw, so, like, yeah, it's just kind of in here. I did go see Saw 10. It was the first film I'd seen. Next we got Jaws. This is kind of controversial, but not really. I am not a huge fan of Jaws. Like, I appreciate everything it's done. It is a great film for what it is, but I don't choose to rewatch it. I've actually watched it only twice in my lifetime, and the first time was whenever my guitar teacher, it was his favorite film, so he lent the DVD for me to watch. Second time was actually last year in cinema when they were doing a replay, and they're actually doing a replay of this film right now, but I think they did Jaws in 3D, that's why I went to see it, because I was like, oh, that's a bit of fun. I went with my friend. But again, I keep it in this because I'm never gonna go looking for it. And that's, I think, the important thing with having DVDs that you're not necessarily gonna go looking for, but, you know, it feels good to have. Next we actually have the Stormbreaker. I think at this point, like, I grew up watching this film. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it like it's a cinematic masterpiece, but that being said, I absolutely love this film, and I still do. It's just a fun. He has a DS as a weapon. Like, come on, that's absolutely cool. We got a French rom-com called Priceless. It wasn't great. I think I found it in CX and paid like a few quid for it. This was when A Star Is Born. This was when they were the 2019 or 2018 Star. I got the Duchess here because I didn't really like it, and I was like, I'm gonna put it away. I watched it once, didn't like it. It's the worst of the Joe Wright films, so it's in here. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was recommended to me, but I never watched it, so I put it away here. Space Jam I bought on eBay. The DVD ended up not working, so it's just kind of here, but I do love Space Jam. I did not watch the remake from a few years back, but this one is an absolute gold. I grew up watching it. 1917, this is when 1917 came out, 2019. I actually misbought this one thinking that it was actually 1917. It's actually the documentary on the airplanes at the time. Then we got 28 Days Later because I already had a few versions already on my thing, so this is the non-signed edition here. Next is actually just a film I bought in HMV one day. It's a Korean film called Flu, and basically it was around the time of COVID, and this was one of the films that sort of, I was like, oh, this looks fun. Next we got the most treacherous film of all time, Watership Down. Oh, what a beautiful film. Lies. We've been lied to. I was traumatized at one point in my childhood by this film, and I know a bunch of other people have. Oh yes, what a film. The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers. Do you know what the funny thing about this film is that I unironically actually love it. I unironically love that it's unapologetically the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. You know, I know people who will watch this high. A lot of people say you should watch this high. I've never watched it high. I'm never gonna watch it high. Because apparently I don't need to be high to enjoy something as ridiculous as this. I don't know what that says about me, but I will say I like this film. I watched as a child. Oh, there we are. My favorite I always struggle for saying his name because I'm afraid I'm gonna mispronounce and say a different thing. So I'm gonna nod because now I made myself nervous. And it's True Lies with, you can see him here, Arnold. Okay, let's just call him Arnold. Oh my god, like, oh, the most embarrassing thing. So basically, right, it's his best film. I love this film. It's so funny. It has Jamie Lee Curtis in it. I really recommend. If you need convincing, it's basically about this special agent, Arnold, and he has a wife. And do they have kids? I'm not so sure. But basically, he's like this, he pretends to have this boring job while doing cool stuff, but his wife, who's played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is a housewife. She's quite bored, doesn't know what to do, so he decides for a bit of fun, he'll set her up on a secret mission. But that fake mission turns into a real mission, and it's so much fun. It's so funny. There is an iconic scene in it where it's actually a mistake, but they kept it in the cut. It makes the film so much better. Next we have The Hamilton Woman. This was during my old film phase. I bought this because it has Vivian Leigh in it and Lawrence Oliver, and I'm pretty sure my grandmother, my great-grandmother, really liked him at the time. It was like the crush in those days. So I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a watch and see what the fuss is all about. I don't know if I even finished it, but that's why it's kind of here. Next we have I, Robot with Will Smith. This is a great film. I think the CGI could have been a bit better, a bit more, not even better in terms of the quality, but maybe the quantity of what you saw in the film. It just felt quite bland at times, quite just like, oh, Future's just slick and stuff, rather than there actually being personality. But overall, it was a good film, you know. Blades of Glory. Again, I saw this when I was growing up, and I rewatched it about a year ago. It's a funny film. It's so stupid. And yet I love it so much just because of that. So it's in here. Next we have, and I think we're on to, yeah, two of the final ones. Next we have The Magic Sword at the Quest of Camelot. I moved houses when I was about an early teenager, and we didn't have internet in the house for a couple of days, but this was downloaded. Onto my parents' computer, so I just watched it a bajillion times. It's an alright film. There's singing in it, and I remember some of the songs. So I had to get on DVD to commemorate. Oh my god. Don't you dare make fun of me. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Right, next, and last but not least, it's 17 again with Zac Efron. Can we just... Okay, so here's the thing, and I'm going to talk about this here because I feel like I need to. 17 again and Back to the Future. What do both of those films have in common? I'll give you a couple of seconds. Wrong. Both of them have really weird romances between the parents and the kids. And I know what you're thinking. What the flip are you talking about? I'm going to tell you. In this film, the dad becomes 17 again. Whoa. And he stays in his time, and his daughter meets him when he's 17 and starts absolutely throwing herself at him. The scenes get way too uncomfortable, way too quick. I absolutely hate it. I'm like, no offense, but who finds that comedic? Like, genuinely, like, why the hell would you want to be in that scenario? And how could you find humor in that scenario? I don't understand. And it's the same with Back to the Future that I just watched recently. You have the character travel back in time, and then his mom starts flirting with him. And you're like, who thought of this? Why is this a great idea? I don't understand. It's a terrible idea. I absolutely hate it because it makes you so uncomfortable. And again, you're not watching it thinking, oh my god, this is hilarious. Wouldn't it be fun? No, there is nothing more gross than that. And it's, again, I want to meet the people that find it funny and for them to explain to me what is actually funny about that. Because personally, I could smash the TV screen when stuff like this happens. Now, luckily, these are the only two films. A little bit more alarming, this film is more modern than Back to the Future. So, yeah, I don't know. But that is the end of this. So, relatively short video, especially compared to the other ones. But is this a great way to declutter items? Sure. I would say it's definitely the better option. But it's not my favorite option because the thing about decluttering is a bit funny because of course, you know, there's only so many DVDs eventually that are going to, you know, fit in a specific, you know, place that you have reserved for your DVDs. But that being said, these DVDs here aren't, you know, they're forgotten about. I have to admit, they're forgotten about because I don't see the spines. You know, when it sits on my shelf, this is all I see. It's just blank. And sure, I could keep a list somewhere, but I haven't actually added anything to here in a long time because a lot of my DVD collection has not been like, I'm not buying DVDs like crazy. I buy DVDs depending on like what I recently saw, what I want to saw. And most recently I did see the Back to the Future for the first time ever in the cinema, and I actually bought all three of the films on Amazon with a really cool cover for them, so probably make a video about that because I want to talk about it. But right now, I would recommend this.